Well, welcome to the Top Gun Show. Today, I'd like to welcome David Montgomery, the Director of Solutions Architecture for Lumen Technologies. David has held senior solutions engineering positions at such companies as MCI, Quest, Empower, and AT&T before joining Level 3 14 years ago, which became CenturyLink and then Lumen. David's role has been strategic and developmental planning for the continuous success of the sales engineering organization in coordination with the indirect channel sales programs. David, welcome to the Top Gun Show.
Hey, Steve, thanks. It is awesome to be here. Huge fan of the TGS. Looking forward to our interview today.
Right on, man. Me too. I know we've been trying to get this on the calendar for a while, so thank you for your flexibility.
Yep, sure thing.
Well, hey, there's so many wonderful services that are offered by Lumen that we can talk about, but let's make the purpose of this interview to discuss security. If I recall correctly, something like 80% of the world's internet traffic at some point travels over the Lumen network. Is that correct?
Sounds about right, but let me put it in a different context for you. Let me put it in context of capacity. So at a high level, right, we reach 110 countries, over 6,000 metro markets. We touch over 2,200 public and private data centers, and our backbone capacity sits at just over 250 terabits in global IP capacity. So yeah, it would be natural for us to carry probably a lot of global IP traffic that's out there. I think as well, another interesting stat from our side is of that traffic that hits our network, 65% of it that originates on our network stays on our network. So it really speaks to the breadth of the network out there. And because we transit a lot of traffic across the public internet, we're in a unique position when it comes to, we'll call it the security lens. It's about the visibility of the traffic. And our belief is if we see more, we can stop more. So our ability to be able to monitor, track, take down bad actors across the network is why we believe we are in a leadership position in the industry. And then embedded within Lumen is our Black Lotus Labs, and their mission is to leverage network visibility to both help protect not only our customers, but to help keep the internet clean. So kind of a long intro there, but wanted to encapsulate that.
Well, you covered a lot. I mean, I think just the name Black Lotus Labs, that has to just kill a lot of bad guys just by the name, man. I like the name of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's interesting. I mean, with that scope of network, you guys have a distinct advantage with DDoS services. I mean, you don't just stop people at the front door of the business. You stop them all over the world. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, to kind of tie into what Black Lotus Labs does. So that's an effort that is constantly monitoring and watching what's going on the public internet. So in early 2020, we started tracking a trend of increasing DDoS attacks. So kind of historically, thinking back prior to pre-pandemic, these DDoS attacks were focused on retail, gaming, and other organizations that relied on web for the revenue, right? Especially around the holiday season. Traffic to websites. So then we look at the past 18 months, right, through this effort through our Black Lotus Labs. And we've seen, of course, the emergence of people that work from anywhere now, right? You need to have that remote capability. As they are out, they need to have, access to corporate assets across, corporate networks, to hitting public networks and the corporate networks. So the attack kind of surface has expanded. And that in turn, the attack frequency has really increased. It's on the rise, more so than ever. And then, if I look at it from that perspective of customers that are potentially vulnerable or not, I would say, no customer is immune to this, DDoS or ransomware DDoS. The threats out there around security that can potentially render their company, out of business, cost them hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in loss. Are real. These are real. These are happening every day. We see it. Most recently, we've seen some really high profile companies that have been impacted by that. You look at the Colonial Pipeline, you look at, I believe, the meat packing plant as well. And these are impactful to, any consumer out there. So beyond that, it's just a tremendous amount of activity in that area, in that space.
Yeah, security, and I'm going off script here, but security is an interesting breed. It's kind of like insurance. Nobody wants it until you've been breached or you've had a loss or something like that. It's frustrating because nobody has the budget until somebody gets hit. And then once they're hit, the CEO or the board of directors is like, hey, I don't care what it costs, get us right again, you know?
Yep, get us right. And there are emergency DDoS things that can be put in place in the event someone is under attack. Of course, there are, to get ahead of that as well, there are security assessments that can be done at varying levels to at least give you some insight into what potential vulnerabilities are on your network. Something that I don't think you can do without.
Yeah, for sure. What are some door opening questions that a sales partner can ask to identify security opportunities within their clients?
Yeah. So for partners, some of them have been in the security game for some time. I think are confident in talking to their clients. For others that they're not, or they're just trying to get into that. But if you're not, confident in opening that security dialogue, just think about, you don't really need to be an expert because you've got a lot of resources behind you as a partner. We can bring lots of technical folks to the table if we need to. But I think at first it starts with just an open conversation, right, with you and your client. If you've got a relationship, simple questions. When was the last time you performed a security assessment? With people now starting to potentially move back into offices, you've had an office that maybe has sat idle for a year plus. Have you rechecked the defenses within that particular office or that network that you should, because it's been sitting idle. So kind of spur those questions. Those as well should kind of lead into what's your comprehensive approach to business policies around continuity, patch management, access to your network, and all those kinds of things. So I think it is if you have not done a security assessment recently, let's talk about that, and let's determine who we can potentially bring in to talk to you and do an assessment to give you that reassurance, right? That peace of mind. And that's not like buying the big insurance policy up front. We can come in and do a more cost-effective security assessment, kind of right out of the gate without having to invest a bunch of money.
Sweet. Good, great answer. Well, David, I know you're a big fan of the Top Gun Show, and then I know there are millions and millions of people watching you right now, and they want to know a personal or little known fact about yourself.
So I'll go back, since we're talking security, I'll talk security from a physical security perspective. Started my security career a long time ago. I was in charge of a physical layer security. A buddy of mine was a concert promoter. He brought me in to run physical door security for a couple of concerts way back in the day for a couple of well-known artists, and that I really enjoyed. And then we in turn got to load all the equipment on the trucks and got to meet the band and all that kind of fun stuff. So it's a lot of fun way back then.
Well, don't leave us hanging. Who are the bands?
Ooh, okay, John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. Maybe you don't know that one.
Okay.
And Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Okay, Joan Jett. I know who Joan Jett is.
Yeah, awesome.
That's great, man. David, hey, I want to thank you for being a guest on the Top Gun Show today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, Steve. Appreciate the time. Great show. Love it. I'll keep watching.
Thank you, man. Thanks for watching, everybody.